Fun times in Cleveland today. Cleveland! Come on down to Cleveland town, everyone. Come and look at both of our buildings. Buy some food that's prepared near the street. Who knows, you might even see this guy. You should come on down to West 6th Street. It's the perfect place if you're a douchebag. Watch the poor people all wait for buses. Who the fuck still uses a payphone? Here's the place where there used to be industry. This train is carrying jobs out of Cleveland. Cleveland leads the nation in drifters. Here's a statue of Moses Cleveland. He's the guy who invented Cleveland. Yeah!
Donald Trump has not trusted Mitt Romney or Paul Ryan ever. And that was clear in 2016 when Trump was the leading candidate in the Republican primaries. We have, as a Republican Party, you have caucuses and you have primaries, and Trump demolished the other, 18 candidates that were on the stage initially with him in the first debate. It is sad to see that people forget, but I want to kind of recap this for you really briefly because this has relevance. If you've never heard of the Cleveland deal, in a nutshell, what it was is this. The Republican Party could, before the RNC, but before the Republican National Convention, the GOP convention in 2016, where they officially nominate a candidate for the presidency, that was when Donald Trump became the party's official candidate. But up until then, he was just the leading guy with 45 points to everyone else's 1 or 2, if they were still left running. So, Donald Trump is approached by the party leadership, the kind of crony, oligarchical, if that's a word, GOP leadership, the Pence, the Paul Ryans, the Mitt Romneys, and they're told, and they tell him, hey, look, we have all the control. We have the sway, we have the influence, and we have the money. If you want to be the GOP guy, because we'll force you to run as an independent. This is what they wanted to do. They can say, hey, Donald, at any point in time here before the RNC, we can change how the electors choose. So we can say, hey, even though Donald Trump is running, we as a party, we don't agree that he would be the best person for it, and they will throw it. They were going to throw this, and they had Paul Ryan and Mike Pence had set up a web domain for their run. They were going to put themselves on the ticket and say the GOP cannot in good faith and in good conscience put Donald Trump on the ticket. We feel we will lose. We think that this is a lark from Hillary and from the media. We think that he is just a fox in the henhouse. And so to protect democracy, we are going to install ourselves on the ticket. That's what they wanted to do. It was called Rule 9. If the candidate or the nominee is unable to continue their run because they are no longer alive, they can be replaced by the party. So that was their backup plan. This was busted. And so Donald Trump and whoever was helping him at this point, you have to imagine it would have been Admiral Rogers and possibly General Flynn at this time as well, are aware that these guys at the head of the GOP were trying to maybe get rid of Donald Trump in a legal way, or to otherwise change the way that the GOP nominated a candidate so that they could make it so that Trump wouldn't be the guy. The deal that they rumor to have worked out was this. This is the Cleveland deal. It is that Donald Trump, upon winning the presidency, because he'll have the support of the GOP, because he'll be the nominee, two things will happen. One, Paul Ryan will not run again for re-election. So he was already running. He can't drop out of the race as Donald Trump wins, but after Donald Trump becomes the president, Paul Ryan's done. And if you notice, Paul Ryan did exactly that. He quit. He did not run for re-election, even though he was a rising star in the face of the Republican Party. He was on the ticket in the previous election with Mitt Romney. He was going to be the VP. Why did he just drop out? He was the Speaker of the House. Young man. So put a pin in that. The other part of this deal is that Pence now rides the ticket with Trump. That was their insurance policy. Put Pence in behind Trump so that Trump knows if he steps out of line, we'll take him out and put Pence in. And that was their, GOP arm of this octopus deep state working against Trump in the GOP. The other part of the deal is that for the Trump administration's first year, they got to pick the cabinet members. They got to pick the leadership role people. So a lot of people, if you want to go back and look, be my guest. Go and look at headlines through 2017 where they're saying, look at the short tenure for this Trump loyalist. Look at this person who Trump chose them. And now they're coming out and saying all these terrible things about Trump. Look at this. Look at General Mattis. He doesn't like Trump after all. Look at these other people that Trump chose, right? Trump chose these people, remember. That's what they want you to think. They want you to think that Trump chose these people and they hate him. They even hate him. Let's get rid of him. That was their slant. So they say, okay, you can be our nominee, and if you win, we get to install our people. And that was the deal that they had concocted. That's the rumor. That allowed Paul Ryan not to immediately face charges for trying to plan an assassination or a coup with Mike Pence, but it also tells the president exactly how far he can trust his VP. And if he knew that then, and now you know that now, then you have to assume the president was planning for a possibility, for the possible eventuality that Mike Pence would say, sorry, I can't in good faith send these electors back to states that are demanding they recertify or uncertify them. If a state calls DC and says, hey, it's Michigan, hey, it's Arizona, hey, it's Georgia, we want our votes back. We don't believe that was accurate. We think that the bodies of Congress here in our states shot from the hip too soon on these to certify them, and we need them back. And Mike Pence on the 6th said, I don't have the authority to do anything, so I guess we'll certify. So when the president said you can either be a patriot or a pussy, he chose that one. That's the fact. And if you had known about the Cleveland deal, like a couple people were aware, this has been on the internet for a long time, then you would be aware that half of the patriots, at least, were expecting Mike Pence to roll. Because that's what he's been dying to do. He's been dying to throw Trump into the fire. So he thought he was doing that. Kind of sealed his fate. Trumpers and non-Trumpers alike were yelling that they should, do some bad things to Mike Pence. I am not suggesting that, by the way. I think that the law should play out and people should see the punishments that they should get for any kind of seditious or treasonous activity. Here at the bottom of this little search, because I had just searched for the Cleveland deal, but I just want to show this. Paul Ryan won't run for re-election. When you have these dots and you can put them together, and it's not a conspiracy, it's just look at all the information and see that it naturally connects a lot better than just looking at it as random points of evidence. Mike Pence declines to endorse Paul Ryan for speaker. That's weird. Cleveland, Paul Ryan returns to the roots. Paul Ryan striking a deal with Donald Trump to speak. Odd things happening in Cleveland, right? Cleveland is an epicenter for the degeneration of the country. This is, I guess, maybe the bigger piece of the video now, but I'm glad that I got you some context. New LGBTQ schools, the first of its kind in the country, breaking barriers in Cleveland. Why do they say it's the first of its kind in the country? Maybe because you could absolutely find schools like this, and I say like this, it's not because they're teaching LGBT stuff. It's because they're indoctrination. It's because it's camps. It's because you're sending your kid to not an evidence-based, fact-finding school that's going to say, like an elementary or middle school that says, we're going to teach curriculum that is based in fact, that we have been teaching for years because we know it is true, and we teach it because it's been studied, because this is how society grows. They want the opposite. They want your kids to just go to school and begin to become mush-brained, to say that social justice is more important than justice, that adjectives in front of words to qualify them gives it new meaning. It's intersectionality of your own language. That's what it is. They want to make your language diverse and meaningless and double-speakish, right? We talk about double-speak. If they say this is social justice, what it says is it's injustice. socially. Well, we're rooting out injustice. No, you're not. You're creating it by treating people differently based on, in this case, gender or sexual orientation. So this says they're breaking barriers in Cleveland. This is an all LGBTQ school. The new School of One. That sounds scary as hell. Run by the Ministry of Truth. No, I'm sorry. Run by the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. So this is taxpayer funded. Is focused on creating a space for students who identify as LGBTQ+. During the pandemic, classes are online, but once hybrid learning is available, hybrid, that's offensive. Leaders at the school hope to have some students at the LGBT. Oh, they didn't have the Q plus in that side. That's offensive also. You left out Q plus. Never leave out Q plus. Community Center on Detroit. CMSD. Okay, so this is garbage, right? Let's get to a quote. It blows my mind. I honestly didn't think it was going to be this easy, says DeJohn Battle, a program administrator for the district. Battle, who identifies as queer, said representation in schools is important. DeJohn Battle. What's your name? DeJohn. You identify as queer with a capital Q. Why isn't it Q plus on that one? I need someone to explain. Let me know in the comment. This is not the first School of One for the district. The program has 8 other sites. The School of One is based online and students work at their own pace. So it's like a daycare? Battle said the only roadblock is starting the school was the pandemic. There was no pushback. Not from the board, not from Mr. Eric Gordon, I'm assuming a board leader or a district leader, not from the principal. I literally walked up to the principal one day and said, I'm going to open up a School of One at the LGBT Center. And he was like, okay. Funding for one of these School of One programs comes from the district's general fund. So your district is paying for this indoctrination / hey, we don't have to teach you geography or math. We're going to teach you about love everyone sexually, no matter what they are, how old, what kind of part. It's all disgusting. This is how to create a mush brain society. You start with the kids so that in 20 years, who's arguing? No one. You just have a bunch of degenerates shooting up heroin and smoking meth and fucking anyone that can allow them or will allow them to. Says there's no pushback. That should scare you. The fact that no one's arguing against this should scare you. They say they didn't feel like their stories being heard. The kids who are making up 5 to 8% of the population at the highest and roughly 2% of the population once they're adults. Those people need a safe space of their own, so they're using taxpayer funding to create it and segregating them. Do you believe in segregation? You shouldn't. I don't. That's what this is. And they're doing it by choice first. But what happens when enough people go to the gay school and then you're just a normal student in a high school and they tell you, hey, you're gay. You should go to your gay school. And then the teachers, when you're being bullied, say to you, we can't stand up for you because they're a mob and you're one person. It's easier to just remove you and send you to the gay school. They already do this in other places. This is what this is going to lead to. When you're on the left and you want to say you're super progressive and you want to create spaces for people to feel comfortable, that's called life. You have to push people out into life and make them be comfortable around a bunch of other people that are different from them. Otherwise, they will not survive on their own. You're setting people up for failure. You're creating the soft underbelly class who will never be able to stand on their own. That's what this is. Growing up, I've always really liked math. I've always really excelled in math, said Sardo Longo. It's not a real name. Is now taking classes online through the School of One. I liked it because it made me feel smart. It made me feel smart. And I feel like everyone else felt smart in math. They'd like it too. Oh, that's good. So if you can encourage a student to do well, they'll want to continue to try. That's good. Is it because you're smart and you're getting things right? Or is it that they're asking someone who's able to articulate these feelings, things like, what is 5 plus 5? You got 10. Yay, you're smart. And he's like, I feel smart. I don't know. We haven't seen the curriculum, but is it not a little odd that they're saying, hey, this school is specifically and exclusively for anyone that identifies as LGBTQ, so you can't come here if you're not, and we're going to take funding, and you can't come in. You can't do an audit on this. You can't see what's going on here. I think it's a little weird because I would never send a minor into a place where a bunch of people say openly that age is just a number and love is love and all these other ridiculous things that they say in their bios. If you have to identify your gender, I don't want my kid around you. Period. If my kid can't look at you and determine what sex you are very clearly and feel safe around you, then I don't want them there. This is not a school for kids that are going to be treated well. This is going to be a place where the kids who already have a problem at home, who already are lashing out and acting out and are defining themselves this way because it's a way that they have shown, whether it's right or wrong, to get attention. Now they're going to go to the school and be maybe a victim of abuse. Ask yourself this. Would you send your kid to a Catholic school run only by priests with no supervision, knowing the stereotypes that come out of a situation like that? The average person would joke and say, haha, no, or seriously say, haha, no, I would never do that because I don't want my kid molested by a priest. But then you zoom out and realize that the average school teachers, statistically, will molest and have sexually explicit relationships with students that they call relationships, not abuse, 3 times higher a frequency than a priest. Then look at a school like this and say, well, these people are far more degenerate than the average school teacher. Is that not going to create a much more high likelihood that these kids will be abused? Of course. Don't be stupid. This is Cleveland, after all. Another reason to hate Cleveland, right? So you think maybe these things aren't connected. I think you are witnessing the face of evil just come completely right out from under the mask. And you're seeing these people now presenting this as, this is good. Segregation is good. LGBT being segregated is good. We're going to now start to see people say, well, we want to be an all black school. We want that, and you're not allowed to come in if you're anything but black. You're going to see this happen because this is what the lefties want. First, they will divide you, and then they conquer you. Don't let it be you. Let me know what you think in the comments. Tell me if this is too all over the place. That's okay. I understand. It was for me too. Like this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel on every platform that you can find it on, because I need your help to grow this on Parler when it comes back on, but on Gab, I'm there, America Floats. I'll be on Odyssey as soon as the channel ports over from YouTube, where I'm also there. Twitter's been taken down, which is fine. I don't want to be back on Twitter. We have Rumble. We have BitChute. And if you could, go find me on those places. I'd appreciate it. Do those things and help me keep America afloat.